Today, I am taking on Robert Kiyosaki. You may know him for making a lot of money in real estate. What do I agree with? What do I disagree with? You're about to find out. As a young man wanting to stake my claim in the game of real estate and build my own fortune, I became a voracious reader of every real estate guru out there. And at that time as a young man, I read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, written by this man, Robert Kiyosaki. And I want you to know it had an impact. It taught me good, basic, foundational financial principles that got me jacked and revved up and excited to go out there and kill it in the game of real estate. But as I followed Robert over the years, I noticed that there's some things that he purports and claims and talks about that I actually don't agree with. So today, I want you to understand the good from the bad.
Oh, come off it. You come off it. You.
It's time for us to play Agree or Disagree. We're basically gonna evaluate some popular, famous quotes from Robert, and ultimately we're gonna figure out what I agree with and what I disagree with. By the way, I haven't actually seen any of these, so I'm gonna be just as much surprised as you are. Okay, apparently this one says from Robert, when you realize that the world is one of abundance, you can stop operating out of fear and instead start asking, how can I tap into that abundance? Do I have to tell you right now? I agree. But on the other hand, I actually doubt the information. You see, the only company I ever worked for when I was a college kid actually sold these real estate programs, including programs for Robert Kiyosaki. And I remember when the owners pulled me aside and told me what it was really like and how they evaluated his character and how he was just literally cussing left and right. And it was money, money, money. And I'm like, wow, there's a quote there about spiritual abundance and the divine and stepping in and seeing the enlightened path. And I'm like, is that really who Robert is? I don't know. I agree with the message, however. Okay, this looks like a tweet. WTF, why do we worship felons, losers, weirdos, and people without power or success? Why do we attack our police who protect us from the losers? Why do our gutless leaders kiss the losers' asses? The police should take a month off, let losers and leaders kiss each other's asses. Wow, that's shocking. If this is in reference to the Floyd murder by a police officer, and this is the response, I mean, that is like 1,000,000% insensitive. Let me guess why you deleted that. Because there may be some semblance of truth to how this situation was politically handled, but that right there, that's 1,000,000% jacked up. Like, of course you deleted that. Like, the amount of hate that had to come your way from saying something like that is totally insensitive. Dude, that's messed up. That's just a freaking shame right there. 100% disagree. All right, here's another one. Hopefully this is less polarizing. Financial freedom is much more than having money. It's the freedom to be who you really are and do what you really want in life. And many of us lose sight of this by putting others first and playing many different roles such as parent, spouse, employee, friend, and more. Where did you guys, did he say this? You've got to be kidding me. You've got like okay, this matches up with the character that I've had other people depict. I've never met Robert, but that's just jacked up right there. I mean, being a father or being a mother, like these roles that we play in society, or whether you're like, at the church, like leading youth groups, these are really important parts of like who we are. It may not be our core identity, but these roles are like, they're an important part of how we influence society. This is actually how we give back. This is how we actually make a difference. Friend, you're throwing that under the bus. Employee, hey, sorry for you, camera guy. You're just an employee. I just want you to know that you're something like, wow, where are you guys finding this stuff? Okay, agree or disagree? 1,000,000% disagree. Like, I got my daughter over here. Like, if I were to sacrifice my family for money, it's like, I'm going to Taekwondo tonight. I'm not saying that Robert doesn't have a family life maybe or do some of these different things, but like if that's the philosophy, at least for me, that's just wrong.
That's just totally wrong. It's just like wrong. It's just wrong.
There's so much more to life than money. The reality is this contradicts the first statement. This doesn't even make sense. You should be able to literally live an amazing life with or without money. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that define their personal worth by money. So those that have more money should feel better about themselves. Those with less money should feel crappier about themselves. And that's what's wrong. The reality is, whether you have a gift for, or you get mentored by, or you learn how to make a lot of money, that should not determine happiness. It might give you more options, it might give you more possibilities, but dude, I'll never forget for me what it was like when I went to Africa and I was on the service mission with my family, and we had been building like clean water projects, and we had been, giving cows away to the people, because that's like a business for them. They can put their whole family through public school with the milk that they can sell from a cow. And we went to this school, and we were giving all of these, we were planting trees, and we were giving all these school supplies. And then I couldn't believe it. Like, when we were done bestowing our gifts, dude, these kids came out and presented me with this little ball made out of plastic garbage bags with a message that said, what we lack in resource, we make up for in creativity. And the people in Africa that are hands down some of the poorest people on the planet are some of the happiest people I've ever met. Dude, I've got that ball here. Dude, it's like a reminder to me that money is not what life is about. Right here. Dude, check this out. Like, this is what was presented to me. And they would like play ball with this, they would play soccer with this, and this has become a symbol for me of what it's really about. It's making the most of your situation. It's making the most of your situation in life. And dude, in my opinion, like, whether you come from rich, whether you want to become rich, whether you're poor, whether you die poor, dude, naked came we into this world, naked we are coming out of this world. And the reality is, your feelings, your emotions, the way you feel about life is not determined by money. It's not determined by resource. It's determined by choice. You get to feel however you want about everything that happens. If you've been victimized, it's your job to rise above and overcome that. If you've been hurt by someone, you can find it in yourself to forgive, not for them, so that you can be happy again. Money does not create that happiness. Choice does. Disagree. You guys know I hate these reaction videos. Really? Oh my gosh. They get me freaking riled up. I don't get to see this stuff in advance. Let's try this again. I know there are some things that I do agree with Robert. Can you guys give me some easy ones here? He says, number one, I buy and create assets that generate cash flow. Agree. The cash flow from my assets pay for my living expenses. Totally agree. Once my monthly cash flow from my assets is equal to or greater than my monthly living expenses, then I am financially free. That is a fantastic definition of financial freedom, because what that means is you've worked hard to earn money, you've bought assets, and now those assets are providing enough residual monthly income. All your expenses are covered. Everything's like taking care. That right there, that's traditional Kiyosaki. I think that's what people love him for, is that is really great financial training. Love that mindset, and everyone should follow that advice. That is, for me, agree or disagree, that is 1,000,000% agree. All right, here we go again. He says, to be clear, every investment has an element of gambling to it. A professional investor understands that they need to continually move their money into new assets in order to keep it alive. All right. So let's break down this whole thing called gamble. I want to use a different word. Risk. If you work hard and you've worked it out logically and it makes sense, in business, there's no guarantee that it's going to work out. In real estate, there's no guarantee it's going to work out. That function of gambling, I agree with what he's saying right there. However, it's not like you're rolling the dice, like going to Vegas and like leaving it up to pure chance. The reality is you should be making informed risks. You should be making intelligent risks. And by the way, you do have to risk. What he says here about moving your assets around to keep them alive, I 1,000,000% agree with that. This right here, this is what I call classic Kiyosaki and his classical financial teachings that made him super well known and successful. This stuff is good financial advice. Agree, disagree? Agree. All right, it's another tweet. I'm a little scared to read it. This one is from April this year. It says, death of dollar. People desperate for money. Very sad. If government gives you free money, take it, yet spend it wisely. Do not save. Buy gold, silver, Bitcoin. Dollar is dying. Stop. Silver, $20. Stop. Best buy for future security. Everyone can afford 20 bucks, especially with free fake money. Dude, this is written like the 1920 Telegraph. This is kind of funny. Now go back. Okay, first of all, there's a couple of things here that I like 1,000,000% disagree with. You realize that the dollar does go down in value. That's true. Telling someone to buy gold, silver, precious metals, Bitcoin. First of all, Bitcoin is like crazy long-term investment and hazardous, like may not even like survive and be here in the next decade. And silver and gold, these things are actually not consistently going up in value. That's like horrible. By the way, gold, silver, precious metals, I don't own them. Do you know why? They don't produce a cash flow. And you're telling me if there was an apocalypse that the world would go back on a gold standard? I got news for you. That's never gonna happen. Why would you want gold and silver? I have no idea, but that is 100% disagree. Furthermore though, he says, Mr. Kiyosaki criticized fiat money, stating, there's so much fake money. In 1971, Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard and the US dollar became fake money. This is, by the way, truth. Like, we have a piece of paper and we basically say, we agree on the value of this thing, but it in itself is fiat. Like, this doesn't have any actual real value. It's just paper. We agree that this is a 5 and this is a 5, and so they're both worth 5.
5 fingers on this hand, that's 5. And another 5 fingers on this hand.
It's 5 times more valuable than a $1 bill. He says, I think the dollar is toast because gold and silver and cyber currency are going to take it out. So first of all, cyber currency, digital currency, maybe in the next 20, 30 years. Like, it's brand new, it's a baby, it's fragile, there's not much adoption, the world is not using it, you can't go shopping and like actually buy things with Bitcoin and some of this stuff. But this whole idea of like gold and silver, dude, gold and silver are also gone. That's like saying I invest in diamonds. You can't go shop with gold, you can't go shop with diamonds. I just think that's pure stupidity right there. Like, you might not like the US dollar because it goes down 2 or 3% every year, but guess what? It is the common denominator money, and you should always be sticking with the money that people are using for trading. When you have an excess of it, go do something intelligent. Go buy a real asset. By the way, I talk about real estate, I talk about business, I talk about things that don't grow at like 3, 4, 5, 6 stupid percent. You got to put your money in things that actually grow substantially, or else you will lose. That doesn't make you a loser. Disagree. Oh boy, you had to go here, right? Robert Kiyosaki explains why MLM, multi-level marketing, is the perfect business. He says, the richest people in the world look and build networks. Everyone else looks for work. Robert Kiyosaki. Okay, listen, I mean, I did not know what I was gonna step into with today's video, but I was thinking if they pull this out, this is the one thing I know that I will disagree with. I actually owned a couple of multi-level marketing companies, and I got to go through the school of hard knocks. I got to learn some things. I put together a couple of really innovative things. I helped some people. Like one of my guys, I made him over $1 million. But you know what I really learned at the end of the day? When you take a look at the law of averages, if you get in the game of MLM, 95% of those people at best are gonna make $200, $300, $400 a month, but they're going to give you 20 hours a week, some of them 50 hours a week, and I 100% disagree with that. Like, with all of my experience, and I'm telling you, I'm throwing myself under the bus, because I had my own learning experience with this, but I'll tell you what I don't like here. He's taking his fame, he's taking the size of his network, he jumps into a company and he says, everyone follow me. And they're fans, and they all come in, and he's going to win. Most of them are gonna lose. That's what you call being a taker. In life, there are givers, there are takers. That for me, that's a take model. That's just something I'm not cool with. They sometimes have some of the coolest products, but their financial model sucks. So by the way, on this one, this is again, 1,000,000% disagree. All right, let's see what the team has. The formula to find the velocity of money. This is good. Let's see what he says. Looks like he's got 5 steps. Number 1, invest your money in an asset. Check. Get your money back, check. Keep control of the asset, check. Number 4, move your money into a new asset, yes. Number 5, repeat the process. Okay, this is classic Kiyosaki. I love this. What he's talking about with the velocity of money is actually how you move it. And what he's saying is, can I earn like my money in multiple places at the same time. And he's explaining a methodology for how you do this. If you are a subscriber to my channel, you know that I talk about get your money or someone's money to work in real estate, and then with a little bit of time, pull it out, which is what he's talking about here, and get it in another asset. I usually have my money sitting in multiple assets at the exact same time. I put it in, I keep and control the asset, I move it, I do the same. Dude, the ultimate thing is to get your dollars sitting in so many places at once that it compounds and builds wealth ridiculously. Most people should get really financially educated on money. Kiyosaki, this classic stuff, this is good. So for me, his formula for finding the velocity of money, agree or disagree, that right there, that's 100% agree. The wealthy invest for cash flow. It's not always my experience, but let's find out. He says, cash flow investors, unlike capital gains investors, typically do not want to sell their investments because they want to keep collecting the regular cash flow income. That right there is really smart. When I actually built this convention center, it was designed around a business that said, hey, when I'm not using it for my events, I'm going to lease it to other people. And what that does is that actually produces money for me. It actually builds residual income. And I receive all this money above and beyond, what I do with ever the business. And most of the investors that actually funded this project, they're in it because there's something that they want. They want the long-term residual cash flow from it. Once in a while, though, I will meet an investor that has a prime cash flow and they sell it off because they need a chunk of money for something. And I'm always telling them, don't do that. Like when you find a great project that has a really great cash flow, you have got to stay on that and keep cash flow on that property. You're looking for cash cows. And on the projects where you're not earning as much, you should be looking at rotating them into more assets. You should be multiplying your assets so that you collect an overall bigger cash flow. The poor park their money by putting it in a savings account or even a jar in their home. They get a paltry savings interest rate, that means pathetic, or nothing at all. Meanwhile, inflation eats away the value of their money because every year the dollar becomes less in value, making them poorer over time. This is how the poor stay poor. This is why they are losers. Okay, that right there, this is the same garbage. You don't call people with less money losers, dude. Like, that is a reflection on their worth. Like, we're talking about humanity here. A person's like the value of their soul. You don't say, you got money, you won the game of money, you're a winner. Oh, you don't have money, you're a loser. Guess what, Robert? There was a time when you didn't have money. When I was poor, I wasn't a loser when I didn't have money. And by the way, when I made a bad decision and I lost a bunch of money, that also did not make me a loser. What that meant was I was human making errors and having learning experiences. Listen, the value of your soul is not tied to your net worth. That right there is some of the worst thinking. In fact, I've made it my mission and purpose at my events to literally perform thousands of breakthroughs because it's jacked up thinking like this that has people not making the money that they can in life because they don't believe in themselves. They've lost confidence because I failed at this business, I failed at this marriage, I failed at this trying to raise my child, and as a result, I'm a loser. That thinking will not grow you. It is not even truth. It won't get you, and I'm sorry, I just got to make this a God moment. Like, the value of your soul is precious. You want to tell me that my child that's autistic, because he has problems and he's not good at certain things, or maybe will never be good at making money, you want to tell me that the value of his soul is less because he has those problems? Whether you're talking about someone with autism, whether you're talking about a different race, whether you're talking about people with or without means, that right there, that is wrong. 1,000,000% disagree. So this was an interesting experience for me today, because when I give you my final verdict here, I have to tell you, I was assuming that my team was going to present me a lot more classical Kiyosaki in some of his original books and some of his original financial teachings. I think that Kiyosaki, he's got a great financial mindset and he's got a great formula for building and creating wealth. What he's really teaching there is like the rules of money and how you play money as a game, like you might Monopoly, to take money and multiply it. I agree with that. I think that that's really powerful. But I saw some things today that not only did I disagree with, that actually disgusted with me. What he was revealing in his tweets and some of his other quotes was his character, or in other words, who he is as a human being. And I have to admit, some of this stuff is likely being taken out of context to some extent. And you know what, sometimes when you do that, things are different than they were meant. So I don't know exactly what the full context is on some of these things, but I will tell you that some of those statements and paragraphs taken as standalones, for me, not cool. I wanna like who you are private life. I also wanna like who you are in your public life. I want them to actually be the same. I think that congruency is something I've learned is important to me. Otherwise, you get someone who's two-faced. You get someone that says, wow, I don't agree with your morals and your approach to people and friends, but I like your results in business. For me, I can't separate them. You gotta have both. Listen, I by no means am perfect as a human being. I certainly have my flaws, but our flaws are all different. And right now, what I want you to know is that I believe that there's more to building wealth than just having a formula or a system for making money. It is a mindset, it's a way of thinking. And I actually want to challenge you that if you click the link below, you can actually get discounted tickets to get live with me. In fact, I want to challenge you to literally put my character up and criticize it. Spend 4 days with me as a mentor, get a chance to experience me, see who I really am as a human being, where I will not only give you $1 million game plans and I'll show you how to build a lot of wealth and an active income today, but more importantly, I'm gonna teach you how to think like a millionaire. I'm gonna teach you the character of a millionaire. I'm gonna teach you how to become someone that doesn't just have financial results, but loves who they are as a human being. And I always challenge people, if by the end of the first day, you don't claim that that was hands down a life-changing event, I'll give you all your money back. Dude, I'll double all your money back and we can part ways. So listen, thank you so much for watching today. Take me up on the offer. It's 4 insane, amazing, life-changing days of the mindset and the strategies in today's world, how to build real wealth. Ooh, that was a doozy today. Check it out. I make my videos based on your comments. If you want to see me compare my strategies to someone else or see what I think about some of the other influencers out there, drop a comment. By the way, if you think I'm full of it, you can comment on that as well. If you like some things that I shared, share that. I would love to get your comments. I'd love to see the way that you think and inspire more video ideas that I can create for you.